strong that team is, making his way into the building. One of the big
I was blown away and honored to be invited here tonight. And I wanted to show up and tell you about my friend, Donald Trump. The Donald Trump that I know.
This is the kind of guy that, you want to talk about a fighter? This is the most resilient human being I've ever met.
And the guy's always been an amazing friend to me. He and I will be friends for the rest of our lives.
One of the things that he said to me, he says, you know what's hilarious? I've owned hotels and casinos my whole life. People from all over the world have worked for me. Never been called a racist until I became the president.
Dana Frederick White Jr. was born in July 28, 1969. He is an American businessman who is CEO and president of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC. Dana White has spoken publicly about their friendship and has praised Donald Trump for his support of the UFC and the sport of mixed martial arts. Trump hosted several UFC events at his Atlantic City venues back in the early days of the organization, when no one was willing to do so, which helped boost the UFC's profile.
In 2001, my partners and I bought the UFC, and it was basically considered a blood sport. State Athletic Commission didn't support us. Arenas around the world refused to host our events. Nobody took us seriously. Nobody. Except Donald Trump. Donald was the first guy that recognized the potential that we saw in the UFC and encouraged us to build our business. He hosted our first two events at his venue. He dealt with us personally. He got in the trenches with us, and he made a deal that worked for everyone. On top of that, he showed up for the fight on Saturday night and sat in the front row. Yeah, he's that guy. He shows up.
Just to sum him up, this is the kind of guy that, you want to talk about a fighter? This is the most resilient human being I've ever met. If you see the shit that this guy's going through publicly every day, and I'll call him on the phone as a friend and be like, hey, you good? How you doing? Unfazed. Like nothing's going on. And he'll start talking to me about this and that and all this other shit.
There's things that I can tell you about the President of the United States that you don't hear on TV and you don't hear from other people. Like you said, I've known this man for 20 years. We've actually become even closer since he's become the President of the United States. When somebody becomes the President of the United States, you don't ever expect to hear from them again, okay? And I understand it. It absolutely makes sense. This guy is so loyal and such a good friend. Every time I see him, I saw him today when I met him on Air Force One, the first thing he said to me is, how is your family? How is your family? Good man, very loyal, and a very good friend. Donald championed the UFC before it was popular, before it grew into a successful business, and I will always be grateful, so grateful to him for standing with with us in those early days. So tonight, I stand with Donald Trump. Let me tell you three things that I respect about this man. First, Donald has great business instincts. He supports businesses of all sizes. He'll make it possible for them to grow and succeed, which is the backbone of a strong economy. Second, Donald is a hard worker. This guy's gonna get up there, he's gonna roll up his sleeves. He will work with people, and he will put in the time to get things done. Third, for over 15 years, Donald Trump has been a loyal and supportive friend. And I know that if I needed Donald, he would be there for me, just like he was when I first met him.
Tom, I've never talked about this publicly, but one time I called him and he was not good. He was a mess, and I've never heard him like that, and I've never seen him like that when Ivana died. The only time I've ever seen him fucked up. Obviously, as soon as I heard it, I reached out, and I have never. Look at all the stuff that's gone on with Trump, all the bad stuff that they say. They're trying to attack him. They're trying to ruin him. Unfazed. I called him that day, and this is the first time I've ever seen that guy busted up and not good.
And I think that sense of loyalty and commitment will translate into how he will run this country. And let's be honest, folks, we need somebody who believes in this country, we need somebody who's proud of this country, and who will fight for this country. Let me tell you something. I've been in the fight business my whole life. I know fighters. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump is a fighter, and I know he will fight for this country. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
He will walk through fire. He's an absolute savage.
This happened to me. I posted a video for Trump, right, on my personal social media. And one of our big sponsors called and said, take that down. You know what I said? Go yourself. Yeah. You vote for whoever you want to vote for, and I'll vote for whoever I want to vote for. That's how this works. I don't even care who you're voting for. It's none of my business. You.
Yeah.
Don't ever call me and tell me who to vote for.
Yeah.
He calls me and says, I'm running for president. Now listen, if you don't want to do this, I completely understand. But I would be honored if you would speak at the National Republican Convention for me. Everybody told me not to do it. Everybody. And I'm like, this guy, all the things that he's done for me, I'm going to tell him no. No, that's not me. Yeah. I went up and I told the people the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel in fear these days, you know? A lot of people feel in fear that if they don't vote for certain people, they're going to lose their jobs. I mean, it's Hollywood, for example.
Think about how crazy that is.
It sounds insane. It sounds just like...
Well, it'll keep happening unless more people stand up for themselves.
Yeah.
He's a fighter. He loves this country. He's doing great things for this country, and we got to win this election again, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Knocked out by a spinning back fist. We're not going to bring that up. Is this thing rolling? No, we can.
I get to watch as much as I can. It's highly competitive stuff. You know that better than me.
Yeah. Like even back then in 2001, you hosted it, but I knew you were a fan because the very next event, UFC 32, was at the Meadowlands, and you showed up as just a fan.
Yeah.
You were in. Yeah.
Well, this sport is interesting. Like I watched Usman. I think he's a terrific guy, by the way.